Maybe this will work now. Oh, you guys. You know how it is when the good Lord tests you sometimes. I think he was doing it to me the last couple of days. Hope I did okay. I get all the way to my office. I don't have a key. It was on my son's key ring. So just needless to say, I got in the office. Okay. Not breaking and entering in your own office, I guess. So, all right, guys, I got 20 minutes. I apologize for the technical issues. I think my internet service provider got a few choice profanity words too. So my apologies to anybody that heard me say the F word a while ago. I'm still upset. The Macon County case in Dan Calkins. The judge on Friday issued a ruling. The judge didn't really rule necessarily. He just issued an order because in the 3 cases that we have soon to consolidate into one bigger case, we already have laid out the legal framework on the equal protection, the legal issue of equal protection. You guys know that. We also laid out the framework for the procedural unconstitutional way that the government has for decades passed laws. Okay? You with me? And we were in a position, or still have a chance, but we were in a position to alter the landscape potentially of how laws are passed in Illinois for generations. Because see, let me tell you guys something. In the state of Illinois, the Democrats play chess. They're playing a long game, and they very strategically do the things that they do. And the Republicans in Illinois collectively don't have the capacity to play at that level. They just don't. Dan Calkins' nonsense recently is a perfect example of somebody that's playing tic-tac-toe while they're playing chess, okay? Because we had them right where we wanted them. The governor, the attorney general, and I'm not disrespecting these men. They do what they think's right, and I'm okay with that. Don't want to answer the questions that we're asking of them. They don't want to answer the questions because they know the answers to those questions could change forever how laws are passed in Illinois, which would benefit everybody significantly. You with me? And so when we filed our cases and got restraining orders in our cases, and then we got a ruling out of the appellate court of Mount Vernon saying that 1, this law violates equal protection in their opinion, likely, and 2, the Illinois Supreme Court needs to deal with the unconstitutional way that laws are being passed. Then here comes a politician, Dan Calkins, who calls me on the phone. I'm just going to tell you guys, because I'm one, you guys know I'm frustrated about the internet, but I'm sick of it. Calls me on the phone and wants to pay me money for my legal work. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. That's inappropriate. I'm like, if you have a lawyer that's going to file something and he needs my help or she needs my help, I'll help them any way I can help them. But I'm not taking any money from anybody in exchange for that. I'm like, my clients hire me to represent them. That's how the lawyering works. I'm not taking your money. You with me? And the response I got was, okay, thank you for offering your legal documents to us. And I'll keep any extra money that I might have given you in my campaign account. That's exactly what he said to me. And I'm like, you do whatever you got to do, dude. That's none of my business. So what happens? Dan Calkins then takes the legal framework that I prepared for all of you, and he just duplicates it. He didn't do anything new. He didn't create any new arguments. Didn't use his mind to try to figure out how to do things good for these people of our people of Illinois against these politicians. He just copied and pasted it. And I'm going to fight for you. You're not fighting for anybody. You're just being a copycat. Filed it in Macon County. The judge in Macon County had to follow the legal analysis of our cases that you guys hired me to do. The judge was bound by that decision. So the judge, Forbes, I believe his name, he issued that ruling. Okay. And guess what? So here we sit. Keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. These lawsuits that we have filed together, do you see my name on them anywhere as a plaintiff? You do not. My name is not on there as a plaintiff because I represent you. I don't represent myself. Who's first and foremost on Calkins' case? He is. His name's right at the top. Big shot, right? Right at the top. I'm going to fight for you. And so the Attorney General and the governor and the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate don't want to answer these questions under oath, you guys. They don't want to answer them. And I told them no. Said no, no, no. What do? They go to Dan Calkins. Hey, Dan, you want to go to the Supreme Court? We make you the big boy. Go to the Supreme Court. What's he do? Oh, yeah, okay, I'll go because I'm going to fight for you. All the while, I guarantee you, and again, not being disrespectful to my esteemed colleagues, they're laughing all the way at how easy it is to make Dan feel like he's a big shot. And they take the case from Macon County. Now they're going to go to the Supreme Court without a record, without having them answered any questions, without them doing the work that really needs to be done to just drive it home, man, and to make this thing as ironclad as we can make it. No, not going to do that. We're going to run to the Supreme Court. What does that do? Is it possible to still win the gun issue right now? Yeah, it's possible. But the issue of altering how we do laws forever in this state to the benefit of your children, your grandchildren, their children, Dan's just throwing that in the garbage. Throwing it in the garbage. Which is what, again, I'm going to humbly suggest to you, Governor Pritzker and Attorney General, the Speaker, and the President of the Senate want. They don't want that issue in front of the Supreme Court to change how they do games and shell bills. They don't want the Supreme Court talking about that. And that's what they're using Dan for. Second thing is the case on the gun ban is not the best case to put in front of the Supreme Court right now. It needs to be further developed. The governor, rightfully so, wants it to go to the Supreme Court completely undeveloped with nothing in the record. That's what the governor, and if I was the governor and I was advising him, I'd want the same thing because it gives me the best chance. There's no benefit whatsoever of rushing this case to the Supreme Court. Not for the gun case, and certainly not for trying to get something done to alter how laws are passed in Illinois, which benefits much, much bigger issues, ladies and gentlemen, than a gun issue. Does that make sense? And that's why I'm frustrated. That's why I'm frustrated. And then to get, and some of these guys are my friends, and so I say this reluctantly. Then you get Dan dragging in the rest of the members of the Freedom Caucus talking about the same nonsense. Congratulations, Dan Calkins. They put on their social media for getting a ruling out of Judge Forbes and that the law is unconstitutional. That's not a good thing today, right? Because it didn't change anything. The appellate court's already said that it's likely unconstitutional. And here we are wanting to make sure that we can get to an 8 or a 9 out of 10 chance to really drive this thing home. No, we couldn't do that. We got to hurry up and run, right? So those guys doing that, I'm like, what are you doing? And then they tried to tell all of you, oh, there's a statewide injunction now. Everybody's free. No, you're not. No, you're not. If you look at the order that Calkins entered in that case, that I'm told the governor's office drafted, there's no injunction language in there whatsoever. There's zero injunction language. So as of today, even though that ruling got entered, nothing changed for the people of the state of Illinois, right? The people that are in our lawsuits are still protected by an actual injunction, but that order in Macon County didn't do anything for people. All it did was fast track. I think Scott Casper from Illinois Review wrote an article. All it did was fast track the case to the Supreme Court before it was ready. And you ask yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, is that good for the people of Illinois? It's what the governor and the attorney general and the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate wanted. So do you think that's good? That those four men wanted what Dan gave them? Do you think that's good for you? You ask yourself that question, right? Ask yourself that question. Ask Dan Calkins. Dan, these procedural issues of how we pass laws in the like thieves in the night at 3 o'clock in the morning. You're not addressing that? Right? You're not addressing that. And then ask him, say, okay, but the issue with the gun, okay, how about the gun bill? Well, What did you do new, Dan? What did you bring to the table or add to the arguments that weren't already made in these other cases? The answer is nothing. Brought nothing to it. So again, he's not fighting for you. All he's doing is pretending by taking somebody else's fight, which is all of you who hired me. It's your fight. I'm just your mouthpiece. It's your fight. All he did was take your fight, steal it from you, proverbially speaking, and throw it in front of a court himself like it's him, got a bunch of money in his campaign account, which is a different conversation, and he's running the case to the Supreme Court just like the governor wants. Just like he wants. And I'm sitting here going, how frustrating is it as a Republican in the state of Illinois who's trying to play a chess match with not enough money, because we don't have Governor Pritzker's money, without enough people in the General Assembly, trying to play a chess match with these people and actually do some good for the people of this state. That's what I'm trying to do, to the best of my ability. And who gets in my way? Not Democrats. They're not getting in the way. They're fighting what they believe is right. You got people like Dan getting in the way. Not helping anybody whatsoever. Not helping anything. Making it worse. Making it absolutely worse. And I just don't understand. Is it vanity? Is it wanting to be able to stand there and say, I'm fighting for you and I'm going to go for you without even really knowing what they're talking about? Is that really that big a deal? I don't know. I don't know. We still might win the gun issue in the Illinois Supreme Court. We still might. Dan might win when he gets there. He's not winning with his arguments, mind you. He's winning with your arguments that he took from you. There's nothing new, right? The ruling that we got in the accuracy firearms case out of the appellate court, you guys remember that one, right? That was yours. That is yours. You bought that. You own that. Belongs to you. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to you. Dan took it from you right away and ran into his case with it and is trying to go act like he's fighting for you. So tell him thank you, because that's what he's doing. But as I said, might still win. But the issue of the bigger issue, the one that I'm telling you, the bigger issue that the Democratic legislature, Governor Pritzker, and Attorney General, the bigger issue they're worried about is us really coming down on the way they passed this law. 2 days, pushed it through. Safety Act, 2 days, pushed it through. That's what they don't want us getting to. That's real deal right there. They'll lose the gun case and think, okay, we lost the gun case. We can't lose how we do business in Illinois. We can't lose how we do business in Illinois. So Dan Calkins, come help us with that. We don't want to lose how we do business. Come on, Danny boy, help us out. And he helped him out. He gave him an out. And I am frustrated at that. Frustrated. Spend 20 hours a day plus plotting, trying to figure out, how do I do this to the way that benefits our people, right? And then have short-sighted politicians get in the way. It's like, what are we doing? How are we ever going to, as moderates or conservative Republicans in Illinois, how are we ever going to get anywhere with these simpletons thinking that they're doing something special? I don't care who likes it. I don't care who likes it, because when you start hurting the people that I care about and I'm trying to fight for, I don't care who you are. I'm going to tell you about it. That's okay. Anytime, any place, State Representative Calkins wants to have a conversation publicly with the people, step on up. The whole Freedom Caucus, all 6 of you, that's fine. Let's talk about it. How what you're doing is important in helping people. It's not. It's hurting us. All right. So this week, we're going to do the consolidated case. I'm moving on from that, you guys. I'm going to move on to the consolidated. We're going to consolidate our case together. It's consolidated. We'll get it filed here tomorrow or Tuesday. We got a status hearing on Tuesday. I've got to still work on this discovery, okay? I'm going to do everything in my power to get the answers to these questions for you. Everything that I can do. What the governor wants, and again, I want to make sure I'm clear here. I'm not criticizing today Governor Pritzker, because he's doing what he thinks is right, and he's playing his chess match. And I say the governor, I'm talking about the legislature and the attorney general as well. What the governor wants is he wants the Illinois Supreme Court to put an end to this through Calkins's case before I get to him. That's what he wants. He wants that case to hurry up and get done so he can then use that to stop me and my thousands of clients from coming after him and really laying out for the people of Illinois very clearly what they're doing and how they do it and why it's wrong. They will fight to the finish to keep us from doing that. And they're using short-sighted Republicans right now that looking for a little bit of vanity to accomplish that. That's what's going on. I promise you, as sure as I'm sitting here, you guys can see I'm looking right into the camera. I ain't hiding from you like Dan is. I'm looking right into camera. And I challenge anybody, I don't care who you are, to disagree with what I just told you in the last 15 minutes, because there is no disagreement to that. It's 100% accurate, okay? So we'll get our amended complaint filed. We will keep fighting with the discovery. Brian and I are going to work on that. I'm going to try to get the answers to these questions. We've still got the federal arguments, you guys, as I've told you. We've still got the federal arguments, right? There's another federal case in the Southern District right now there's 2 or 3 of them, but one of them's pretty good. And they're not arguing everything like we could argue and we will argue. But to the extent that they have a real chance of doing some good for all of us, I'm not going to get in their way. You with me? I'm not giving up your arguments. We still got them. But they're going to have hopefully we'll get a temporary restraining order or an injunction. I'm sorry. Hopefully we'll get an injunction out of the Southern District of Illinois in the next few weeks in this case that I'm tracking and talking to them about. And it'll benefit all of us, even me, because I'm not on your case. That's what I'm watching. So again, I'm trying to work with all of these other groups to all of your benefit, because that's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm not going to step on their toes. I'm not going to do something that might cause them a hiccup, because I'm not in this for vanity. I'm not in this to be the guy standing at the top going, look what I did for you. That's not I don't care. I just want to win for you, and so, but unfortunately we've got this Macon County case that's not doing anything to help any of us. So there you go. I'll get that filed. We'll get it amended. And I will be back and give you an update on that. I promise you. But this, I was really scared for you guys, because I saw the Freedom Caucus and I saw Dan Calkins telling y'all, you can all go buy guns. You're all free to go buy guns. No, you're not. No, you're not. You could still be charged with a crime. Okay, you still might have a defense, but there's no injunction in place. There's no order from the Supreme Court of Illinois saying that you're not subjected to this law. There's none of that right now, right? So when Dan Calkins starts giving you guys that legal advice on his social media page, I'm like, what are you doing? Misleading these folks. And so that was really one of the things I was frustrated about, guys. There is no statewide injunction, okay? Trust me, if there becomes one, either in a federal court or a state court, I'll be the first one to tell you. I'll explain it to you. Don't listen to these politicians. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't play chess, right? Again, a very poor game of tic-tac-toe is what's going on with that. So I'm going to see if there's any questions Ryan has. I love you guys. Sorry that it took time with this internet stuff. And you could tell it, as my face red when I get a little frustrated. And I apologize for that. I don't get there often, but I don't like to see people misled. I don't like to see them hurt. I don't like to see, things happening that just don't make any sense strategically. So, Ryan, anything? Tyler, you just said nobody working together, and you got my name and Todd Vandermeide on there. I'm just here to tell you, brother, I talk to Todd all the time. Todd and I understand exactly. I know exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what I'm doing. So that's not correct, Tyler. Todd and I talk very, very clearly with each other. So that's not true. Anything else, Ryan? Joseph, the answer to that question is yes. People that just we'll get you on there here this week, hopefully. Okay, Tyler? Anything, Ryan? It's 8 o'clock. I know we got another thing to do.
No, I think you're good. Is the new clients coming up? Just they understand that we're going to get to them this week, and we had to overcome this. So
All right. Last question, Troy. I don't know. It depends on how the Supreme Court rules and what they might rule, brother. I don't know the answer to that question. So it depends, right? All I can tell you I know for certain is that case went to the Supreme Court way too quick. How that might impact us, better or worse, don't know. I don't know the answer to that yet. Okay, guys, I thank you very much. I hope that helped. Ryan and I got a hearing or a meeting we got to go to. So have a good night. I love you. See you.